Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever looked around at the world and felt like, you're wandering through a thick, totally disorienting fog, well, you are absolutely not alone. Life is just full of absurdities, contradictions, and moments that honestly seem completely unfair. But how do we actually navigate this? Today, we're undertaking a deep spiritual study through the later chapters of Ecclesiastes, moving from the profound fog of life's vanities straight toward the clear, guiding light of trusting God's ultimate plan. So here's our expository roadmap for today. We're moving sequentially right through the text, starting in Ecclesiastes Chapter 8, moving through chapters 9, 10, and 11, and finally arriving at the magnificent conclusion of Chapter 12. Let's see exactly how Scripture equips us to navigate this world. Ecclesiastes Chapter 8, Trusting Providence. Okay, so Chapter 8 really dives into the deep unpredictability of society. It's about how we handle human authority within creation when, let's be honest, things just aren't going our way. It teaches us the exact posture a believer should take. To truly grasp this, we have to set an anchor, and we find it right here in Ecclesiastes Chapter 8, verse 17. The author acknowledges a really hard truth. No matter how hard we study it day and night, our human limitations completely prevent us from fully understanding God's vast sovereign providence. We literally cannot comprehend the beginning and the end of all his works. But here's the amazing part. Theologically, this is actually meant to comfort us. We don't have to figure it all out to find peace. True rest begins precisely when we surrender to the Creator, whom we cannot completely comprehend. Because we can't see the whole picture, the text gives us some incredibly practical boundaries. First off, in Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 2, we're counseled to submit to authority, keeping our oath to God. It's a call to respect order, recognizing that even deeply flawed human systems operate under God's overarching permission. The text then just bluntly acknowledges life's deep absurdities. I mean, sometimes the wicked prosper and live long, while the righteous suffer. It's an injustice that completely breaks the simple rule of cause and effect. Yet, in verses 11 through 14, the profound instruction is to trust the ultimate justice of the Creator. It might look like the wicked are winning right now, but ultimately, it will be well with those who truly fear God. All right, moving right along to Ecclesiastes chapter 9, God's sovereign hands. Now, as we step into chapter 9, the focus shifts from societal injustice to a physical reality that every single one of us has to face. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 2 grounds us in a very sobering truth, our mortality. Death is the one absolute certainty in this fallen world. Whether you're righteous or wicked, clean or unclean, we all share the exact same physical destiny. And at first glance, I know this might feel incredibly hollow or defeating. But this brilliantly highlights a vital theological tension. At the very end of their earthly paths, the righteous and the wicked look completely identical. Why? Because it proves once and for all that our human efforts, our moral striving, our wealth, none of it can bypass God's ultimate decree. It is a profoundly humbling reminder that we do not control our days. Rather, our lives rest entirely in God's sovereign hands. Every single breath is managed by providence. But wait, the writer absolutely does not leave us in despair here. Look at Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 4. A living dog is better than a dead lion. Now you have to remember, in the ancient world, a dog was a despised scavenger, while a lion was the undisputed king of beasts. The point he's making is that just being alive, literally just having breath in your lungs right now, carries immense hope and value. Because death strips away our earthly labors, life is a precious gift from Providence to be rejoiced in today. Enjoy your meals, find joy with your spouse, wear garments of gladness. This present moment is your God-given portion. Next up is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, Wisdom in Creation. This chapter is where we zoom way in on the everyday decisions of our walk through creation. We're going from the grand scale of life and death down to the microscopic level. It opens with this incredibly vivid, famous metaphor in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 1. Dead flies make the perfumer's ointment give off a stench. Just imagine it. A master perfumer spends months crafting the most exquisite, valuable oil, only for a single dead fly to land right in it and rot. The entire batch is ruined. So what is this dead fly? It represents a singular, tiny act of unchecked folly. And man, it teaches us so much about the profound fragility of human holiness. You can spend decades, literally decades, building a reputation of wisdom, purity, and honor in your community, but one unrestrained moment of anger or one foolish moral compromise can instantly corrupt the whole thing. It's a very strict warning to stay spiritually awake. So, how do we actually guard our daily walk against these little dead flies? Well, the text gives us some very specific practical tools. First, we must proactively maintain our purity. We must sharpen our axes, meaning we have to cultivate our character and our skills before rushing blindly into action. And critically, as Ecclesiastes Chapter 10, verse 20 points out, we must guard our words, even in secret. It warns against cursing the king, even in your thoughts, or the rich in your bedroom, because a bird of the air might carry your voice. This isn't just ancient political advice, guys. It's a standard of true, God-fearing reverence. It reminds us that we live our entire lives before the eyes of the Lord.
Let's turn to Ecclesiastes Chapter 11, Acting in Faith.
As we step into Chapter 11, you can feel the tone beautifully shift from caution to bold, faithful action. The sheer uncertainty of tomorrow becomes the exact reason we need to act courageously today. We see this anchored right here in Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 1. Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. This is a profound call to generous, risk-taking faith. You are throwing your valuable resources, your bread, out into the unknown. It represents doing good deeds, giving generously, or stepping out in faith without any immediate guarantee of a return. We sow the seeds, fully knowing we can't see exactly how providence will orchestrate the harvest. We are all so constantly tempted to calculate everything, right? Waiting for that one perfect moment to act. But Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 4 gives us a stark warning. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. If you sit around waiting for flawless earthly conditions, you will be paralyzed. You'll literally never plant anything. Instead, because we cannot understand how God knits bones together in the womb or how he moves the winds, our calling is relentless, daily faithfulness. Plant in the morning and do not let your hands be idle in the evening. So the crucial takeaway here is about living fully, but with a deep, deep reverence. Chapter 11 ends with this passionate address to the youth. Rejoice in your younger years. Let your heart be glad. But Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 9 adds a sobering boundary. Know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. Now, this isn't meant to terrify us into inaction. It's meant to imbue our fleeting lives with immense theological weight. Your one life is a precious opportunity, and your choices matter deeply because you are ultimately accountable to the Lord. And finally, we arrive at Ecclesiastes chapter 12, our ultimate creator. We've finally reached the light at the end of the fog. Chapter 12 brings the ultimate conclusion of our entire study into sharp, unavoidable focus. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1 commands us, remember also your Creator in the days of your youth before the evil days come. Now, to remember here doesn't just mean to vaguely recall a fact. It means to center your entire existence, your deepest loyalties firmly on God. And the urgency is palpable. Do it now while you have strength, before the inevitable physical decline of aging begins, and the days come when you say, I have no pleasure in them. The text then lays out this stunning, yet deeply sorrowful, poetic map of the body's deterioration. The keepers of the house tremble, meaning our hands lose their steadiness. The grinders cease because they are few. We lose our teeth. The daughters of song are brought low. Our hearing fades. Step by step, the tent of our physical body collapses, leading to that final, decisive moment when the silver cord is snapped and the golden bowl is broken. But look exactly at where this timeline ends in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. This right here is our theological destination. While our earthly bodies are temporary and return to the dust of creation, our souls have an eternal home. They return to the Maker. This is meant to deeply comfort the believer. We belong to him. After stripping away absolutely every vanity, every worldly pursuit, and every single earthly illusion, the author delivers the resounding thesis of the entire book in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Without God, life under the sun is merely vanity. But when we revere the eternal God and anchor our lives entirely in his word, our fleeting everyday moments become profoundly meaningful gifts. We've walked through the fog together, we've seen the unpredictability of life, and we've confronted our own mortality. But we end on a foundation of absolute rock, knowing the end of the matter, and knowing that every hidden thing will be brought into judgment. How will you live in awe of the Creator today? Will you trust his providence, or will you keep staring at the clouds? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. May you walk forward faithfully in the clear light of his plan.